treasure.
What's up everyone, Darcblade here with the next episode in my Treasure Hunter series for Uncharted 4, where we go over the various collectibles including the treasures, optional conversations, optional journal entries and journal notes. In this episode we are going to be covering chapters 8 and 9, starting with chapter 8, The Grave of Henry Avery. Now to start off, hug the cliffside to your right. This will bring us to the first treasure, which is a bronze boar. After you've collected that treasure, it's time to make our way to the second one, which is located quite close. You can either go to it straight from the starting location, which means you hug the left side of the cliff face instead, or you can go from the boar location, head across the snowy areas until you reach it. If you're going this direction from the boar, it can be a little trickier than if you go to it from the starting location. The starting location does mean all you have to do is follow the rocks to your left, but keep on ploughing through the snowy areas and you should eventually find it. Remember to look for the shiny, glowing objects on the floor to indicate what the treasures are. Anyway, if you picked up this, you should have collected treasure 17, which is a redware and silver jug flask. Now, moving on to treasure number 18, which is found around the encounter with the dynamite. Normally the story would have you using the dynamite to blow open the wooden gate, but instead of going for that, if you turn around away from the wooden gate, what you're supposed to use the dynamite on, and head over to the edge of the cliffside behind the crates with blue tarp on them, then you'll find treasure number 18, which is a carved wood kashkul.
There. Come on, let's go.
Next we're moving on to treasure 19. After you've blown open the gate and climbed up, if you move over to a rocky side on the right, you'll see that there are some crates under there. Use the dynamite you have remaining, or you can shoot them out if you want, and you'll open up a new area you can get into. This will have treasure 19 located within it, which is a carved nut bottle.
Alright, I get it. Knifed, drugged.
Now next is treasure 20. This one is a little tricky to pinpoint as there are not really any landmarks or notable landmarks. But anyway, as you're making your way across the rocky areas, you will come to this area eventually where you can drop down. Using the pole to swing on would be a good indicator that you are about to get to this treasure location. Anyway, drop down and then pick up treasure 20, which is a travelling inkwell and seal. Next, progressing a little further past treasure 20, we'll come to treasure area 21. Now, after you've swung across, after sliding down the rocky area, you'll come to an area with a door. Now, don't proceed through this door or you'll miss this treasure. Instead, go to the left of the door where there are some handholds. Climb up them and climb up the rock face until you reach the floor above the door. This will have treasure 21 located within it, next to a statue. Treasure 21 is a carved ivory vanitas. Now the next collectible is a journal entry. To get this, hop over the wall to your left to the open grave. This will give you a prompt to press triangle to jot down this note in Drake's journal. Now some journal entries are story paced and he'll jot them down anyway. These don't count as actually collectibles though, only the optional ones do. This will also give you the trophy, jot this down. Anyway, the next collectible is journal note number 1, which is found once you've entered the tomb of Avery. As you progress, you'll find a skeleton sitting in the corner of the first room you enter. This will have the journal note on it, which you need to collect.
One of the old monks wrote this.
Moving on, continue through the tomb until you get to a set of stairs. After proceeding down the stairs, go to the room to your left. In here, near the statue, will be treasure 22, which is a Scottish halfpenny. After picking it up, head back into the opposite room where there is the puzzle of the 3 crosses. Now this is an example of a mandatory journal note being added, as this doesn't actually count as a collectible. However, it will also give us conversation number 6, which involves Sam, so don't forget to talk to him before doing the puzzle.
Sure had a thing for St. Dismas, huh?
Well, Avery fancied himself a good thief, right? Only plundered and murdered the non-British heathens.
Guess that's what passed for good back then.
Good enough.
Next is conversation 7 and journal entry number 2. In my playthrough, I got both of these at the same time. They involve looking at the zodiac sign as well as talking to Sam about it.
That's Libra. The scales of justice.
That's an interesting choice for a bunch of pirates.
Next is treasure number 23. After you've made your way through the cemetery and through the cathedral gates, you'll come to an area where you can use the grappling hook to swing across. You'll then be faced with more soldiers. But anyway, after defeating the first few soldiers, head into a cave you see on the left. There will be a secondary cave in this first cave. You'll see in the video that Sam's looking towards it. Anyway, head inside here. Here you'll find treasure number 23, which is a slip joint clasp knife, as well as a flintlock pistol. Just be careful when going for this one not to be caught by soldiers, as you don't really want to fight soldiers when you're trying to go for treasures.
Away from these guys.
Next is treasure number 24. After you defeated the soldiers, from the broken rope bridge, turn around and head over to this small gap you see. There are some snowy areas which help pinpoint it. And inside this small cave with wood and barrels, you'll find treasure 24, which is a pewter singing bird box.
There you go.
Now next is treasure 25. Now, after a cutscene where Sam pulls you up to save you, you'll come to a cliffy area. Now turn around away from Sam and drop down the cliff. Hang off and shimmy around to your left. Eventually you'll be able to drop down even further, which will eventually lead you to treasure 25, which is a tortoise shell snuff box. After you've picked it up, you should be able to go back up the way you came. Now next, moving on to treasure 26. As you've progressed through the story down the critical path, you should eventually come to these wooden stairs after jumping over some rickety logs. Underneath one of these stairs, I believe it's the second one, you'll find treasure number 26, which is a set of Persian tailoring scissors. You shouldn't really miss this one, as this is on the critical path. After picking these up, you should have got 11 treasures, 2 conversations, 2 journal entries, and 1 journal note. Now, moving on to chapter 9. Those who prove worthy, which contains 6 treasures, 1 conversation, 2 journal entries, and 1 journal note. Now we'll start with journal entry number 3, which is found simply by moving over to the gibbet and waiting for the triangle prompt to pop up. Next, moving on to treasure number 27. Now before you progress over the bridge to continue the story, instead turn back around on yourself before getting onto the bridge. Turning to the left should lead to a little hole, a little cubby hole, where there'll be treasure number 27, which is a lantern-mounted flintlock pistol. Next, moving on to journal entry number 4. After you've completed the first challenge, go back to the door unlock mechanism, where Drake puts his hand. You'll be able to add another journal entry, quite a comic one, to your journal. After that, move through the door and onto your next conversation. This optional conversation is again with Sam. Just follow him until he starts looking over the cliffside ahead of you. This will prompt his next conversation.
It must be right under the cathedral.
You think Rafe and Nadine have any idea this is directly under their feet?
But with enough explosives, they're gonna find out sooner or later.
Now next is treasure number 28, which can be a bit of a tricky one. After the conversation with Sam, continue down the path to your right. But don't continue too far. Keep looking to the right and you'll eventually be able to see an object where the grappling hook can be latched onto. So drop down onto the side of the cliff and you'll also see some handholds. Climb down them and use the grappling hook on the post sticking out. After which, after you swing, instead of going straight forward, turn back on yourself and you'll see a cave. With a good swing, you'll be able to reach this cave. Inside it, you'll find treasure number 28, which is an Easter egg for The Last of Us, because it's a firefly pendant, or in Uncharted, referred to as a strange pendant. Next is treasure number 29. After you get back up to the main path, continue on your way. You'll eventually get to another post that you have to swing across, but this is fairly straightforward. Once you swing across it though, instead of going to your right where the path dictates, instead go to your left. Drop down the cliffside, keep on going down the handholds, and you'll eventually get to treasure number 29, which is a amatory box. After you've collected that, go back up the way you came. Next is treasure 30. After the cutscene where you eavesdrop on Rafe and Nadine, move around to the next walkway. But instead of progressing to the right, which it would normally dictate you, go to the left. You'll see a statue that is toppled. You can crawl under this and get to treasure 30, which is a pewter box. After you've picked it up, go back under the statue and back on your way. Next is treasure 31. After you've used the crate to climb up, veer to your right instead of going straight forward. There will be a jagged hole in the wall, and you can hang down and then use the handholds to get to treasure 39, which is a Memento Mori skull watch. After you collect it, climb back up, which will bring us to treasure 32. After you've used your grappling hook on the movable crate and climbed up to the opposite side, instead of pushing the crate and continuing your way, jump over the boxes you see to the right of it. Here you'll find treasure 32, which is a Scottish tipstaff. And finally is journal note 2. This is found in the broken challenge room. Now before heading over to the seesaw contraption, instead move to your right and down the rocks. You'll eventually see a skeleton on the floor. This corpse has the next journal note located on his body. Just walk over to it, press triangle to collect it, pick it up and have a read of it. Anyway, if you followed this video, you should have got 6 treasures, 1 additional conversation, 2 journal entries and 1 journal note. I hope you found this video useful in at least a little way, and don't forget to check back for part 3, which should be coming soon. So until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my Uncharted 4 Treasure Hunter Guide. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.